Hi, it's NonGone, and today, unfortunately, is a sad day. We're going to learn not to do some stuff. So those of you that have watched my channel know that I'm really more about spreading positivity, encouraging normal people to do extraordinary things or things that you didn't think you could do. And as much as I don't want to preach or add negativity to what's already a tough place to live, this world, there's a couple of companies out there and you run across things from time to time that you just cannot abide, and I can't abide this. If I can just make a little bit of a difference and have one or two people avoid these companies and these practices and make a change for the better, then that negativity can actually result in a positive for everyone. So that's why I'm doing the video. Bear with me and let's talk about why you should never book a flight through Kiwi.com, Nomad Mode, or Booking.com. One quick disclaimer here before we get started, since we're talking about legal stuff. I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. If you have legal issues, consult an attorney. All right, so let's go ahead and start wrecking stuff. Let's start with Kiwi.com. So back in the fall, I booked a trip around the world using Kiwi.com's Nomad Mode. It's very similar to the one that I'm showing you right here. This was 11 individual flights, all under one purchase. The airlines themselves go by something called a PNR number, and there were 6 of those in this package. Salam Air canceled one of these PNR, one of these flight combos from Dubai to Colombo, Sri Lanka. Air Asia canceled a different one of these PNRs from Sri Lanka to Singapore. So that's what we're dealing with. That's the facts. What resulted was a support chain and customer service chain that is this long. I blurred it out because personal details. It wasn't actually blurry and has still ongoing like 6 months after the trip. So that's what we got. Most of this centers, the issues with this center around the Kiwi.com guarantee. So the guarantee's in green and says for 25% additional cost, $400 on a $2,000 thing, they will guarantee if a flight gets canceled that you will get a refund. Now that's 25% is a lot of money to add to your trip. So what if you decide not to do that? Well, it says right here in the red that you can still request if you get a canceled flight to refund from the carriers through them. And that's very reasonable. If you go further in, it even says here that you can also request a refund or alternative directly from them without their assistance. And so that would be reasonable and great if that's actually what happened. But of course it isn't. So when Salam Air canceled my flight, I immediately got an urgent email from Kiwi telling me I better get on their site and book a replacement before all the seats are gone. I was surprised that the replacements were full price without any mention of what the refund would be from the canceled flight. But I figured whatever, they'll either send me money individually or apply it later at a later date. I wanted to make sure I didn't lose my seat. And when I didn't see anything after about 3 weeks, I opened a support ticket with Kiwi. And the first thing they did was invoke the Kiwi.com guarantee and say immediately, because you didn't pay us that $400, we're not going to help you, which is, of course, violates the 2 terms of service that I showed and I'm showing again. In addition, they had the gall, look at this, to say there's no refund for the canceled flight as you already selected a paid alternative flight. Pretty basic contract law here. You cannot take money for a service, not provide the service, and then keep the money. In fact, your rights as an airline consumer are protected even more by, I think it's the FAA, you know, like an airline bill of rights. You'd have to look it up. I'm not an expert on this stuff. Come on, Kiwi, what are you doing? So I invoked the you can contact the airline yourself clause that was in here, which was also said in the terms. And so I did that. And within a day, Salam Air totally did the right thing. They acknowledged that they did it. It was within their policy. They refunded the money. The problem is because they took the money from Kiwi, not me, they refunded the money to Kiwi, not me. And over the course of the next 3 months, no fewer than 3 times did Kiwi deny that they had ever received the money, despite me having to continually go back to Salam Air and provide receipts and contact information. Finally, when I threatened legal action was when they finally said, oh yeah, we did get it. We'll refund your credit card. And they did within a day. But that was almost 3 months later. And so I guess if you're willing to abide by crappy policy number 2, deny, 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 and fight, claw, and scratch for your like $150 or whatever it was for 3 months with these jokers, then yes, I guess you can get a positive outcome out of this without their guarantee. So I guess success? I don't know. But that's not what I came to talk to you about. That was the easy one. We're going to talk now about the second canceled flight from AirAsia out of Sri Lanka and going to Singapore. So when Air AirAsia canceled my flight. I got the same email from Kiwi going, you better book a replacement. Looked on there. They were more expensive than I could get on my own. I said, I've been to this rodeo before. So I contacted AirAsia directly, and they hit me with this guy, which basically said, because Kiwi.com is your travel agent, we are not allowed to talk to you about your flight. And that is absolutely 100% illegal and a violation of agency law. I think as a travel agent or any type of agent, you are authorized to act on behalf of a person, but under no circumstances really ever are you revoking the right of that person to act on their own behalf. That's just like shady and wrong and completely illegitimate, but that's more of airline beef than a Kiwi.com beef. So we'll move on. What we're going to get to now is the reason why I made this video, and that is what happened when I contacted Kiwi after AirAsia told me they wouldn't talk to me. And Kiwi informed me about that little codicil, that little paragraph that I put in there that said, we will ask for a refund on your behalf. So that refers to what's called the assisted refund option. And so they will absolutely ask that airline for a refund on this flight, but only if you cancel your entire trip. Okay, I'm just going to pause and let that sink in. So I have 11 flights. We're going to treat all 11 flights as one trip. Now, you know that the other 5 providers didn't cancel anything, so they're not going to give you any refunds. Kiwi's got to know that as well. I mean, of course, right? So you've basically put yourself in an impossible situation. You can either pay them for another flight in addition to the flight that they're not going to give you the money back for, or you can get the money back for that flight, but you'll lose the money on all the rest of the flights of your trip. And this has got to be one of the most sinister, predatory, despicable, deplorable policies that I've ever seen in effect. Completely arbitrary, completely omitted from the terms when you sign up, and completely reversible, yet it's still in effect. Why? Because it generates revenue. Of course, I'm not pursuing it. I didn't do anything else. I'm just going to let it go. But I don't know a circumstance where this does not end up as a class action lawsuit. I really don't. Like, you can't do that. That's one of the worst policies I've ever seen. But at least they did start a support ticket, and all the customer service agents were responsive and courteous throughout the whole process. So I will give one prop to Kiwi.com for that at least, which is in stark contrast to Booking.com, which is the bonus content here. So remember that replacement flight that I said I booked on my own? I did it through Booking.com. It was straight from Dubai to Singapore. I showed up at 3 a.m. at the Dubai airport and was told that my flight had been canceled and I was replaced without my knowledge or consent on a flight that left later that day and had an 18-hour layover in India instead of the 2 hours that I was expecting. Despite this being the first time I'd heard of it, I was told at the counter that it was too late to cancel that flight and get a refund. So I went somewhere else, got on the internet, and booked my own flight that was more suitable. And when I got back to the States, I tried to get my money back. What happens next will shock you. First thing I learned, Booking.com does not book flights for you. Booking.com has an agreement with GoToGate.com, which you could just go straight to and save one person. They also don't give the airline your email address or your contact information. They act as an intermediary and give them a dummy email address with their responsibility then to forward any notifications onto you, which of course in my case never happened. Throughout the course of my weird, stilted customer service complaint with them, I was told 3 different times that they notified me. They had never provided me with proof of the notification, and the dates that they cited were 3 different dates. You see right here, the 14th, 16th, and 18th. The 18th is the funny one because the flight was on the 17th. But what really gets me here, they do not have any sort of support ticket, customer service line, anything that you can call through Booking.com to book through a flight. You will be directed to this weird portal where they'll send you an email, and every time they do it, you see up here how cheeky this is? It comes from an email address called noreply@blah-blah-blah.com, right? That's what you get. So you cannot have a conversation with anybody. You have to start new tickets every single time so nobody can see what has happened before. It is like one of the just such a slimy corporate policy to do something like this. You can't get anywhere with anybody doing something like that, and they know it. Everybody's got chatbots for everything. Everybody's got survey requests for everything. And yet here on the most important thing about you getting a refund for a flight that didn't happen, you are forced to use noreply@blah-blah-blah.com and have them just sort of guess at what is happening in the conversation. Just awful. This is really what you do if you want to take take advantage of somebody who is powerless. Put as many layers between yourself and the execution of the policies as possible. In this case, we've got Booking.com, who could say, well, it was GoToGate that did it. GoToGate.com, who can say, yeah, you got to talk directly to the airline. And then the airline could say, well, you booked through an agent, you got to talk to them. So that's basically what you do. Run around. In the meantime, all these companies make all this money. These people in the boardrooms that put these policies out and then hand it to customer service to try to execute with absolutely no power whatsoever is pretty deplorable. So I would strongly urge you to avoid Booking.com for flights entirely, since they don't even do it. As for Kiwi.com, Nomad Mode, again, there's some really good things in that, but until they at least fix that one policy of the assisted refund applying to the entire trip, there is really no point to booking a trip through there. I found some actual cheaper routes on this that were pretty similar, and I don't have to deal with Kiwi and their horrible, deplorable policies. So I don't know why you would use it. Kiwi.com, please post in the comments if you see this and you want to fight about it. That's fine. I would love nothing more than to publicize my channel off of a $2 billion company fighting with some guy with 70 subscribers. You're welcome to do that. But if you fix this policy, put it in the comments, because it's a really great tool with a really crappy policy attached to it. And if you could do that, I would greatly appreciate it, and I'll use you for future. That's my plea to you, Kiwi.com. Booking.com, you shouldn't even be in this business. If you can't execute a simple refund and you strand people at the Dubai airport at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then have the absolute brass on multiple times to look me in the eye and call this a no-show airfare. Are you kidding me? I was sitting at the airport with no plane to get on. No show. Booking, get off my lawn. All right, I've said my piece. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go do something fun like learn to dance or cook. Thanks again. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next video. Stay bad, people. NonGone is gone.